Uh, welcome back. Welcome back to Cloud Computing Series. This is Akbar Mohammed here. And now today we are going to see something about Terraform. What is Terraform? So let's understand with example why companies are looking for a Terraform skills. Why it's very important, how it's going to get benefited to the company. Let's see. I'll just give example here. Now, see here, suppose we got a kind of requirement to build infrastructure, right? So I'll show you some resources here. Check out one by one. Yes, I'll take this example, real world example. You can see here a Terraform in real world, right? So before going for Terraform, it's very important that you should or you must know about cloud computing resources to be built manually so you can understand well. So I recommend this, right? This series is basically, this session is basically to whom? Those who know the idea about the cloud computing, whether AWS, Azure, or Google, or Oracle Cloud, they should know something. Then they can understand well. So let's see, like, I'll just give example here. Now, I'm just taking example of what? A real-time architecture for healthcare application. Example, we are deploying a kind of healthcare application for a German client, and they want the deployment to be very faster and quick decision to be done, and they need this resources to be like, that means your application to be deployed very quickly. But we have a choice, like here, I'm suppose you don't know about automation and you know how you do into cloud, like Amazon or Azure. Well, let's see on Amazon, if you want to build all kind of architecture to deploy application, you require networking, you require VPC, and you can see here the resources. I can show here into the resources example to build it. What are the resources you require? Okay. Show. So here itself. No worries. You can hear, you can see that here itself. I can take this. Okay. Now you require an VPC to be created, and you need to have some subnets. Public subnet one, or it can be a multiple zone for high availability, and you need to create a private subnets too, which is going to be again multi-zone, and for database or app subnet. And you need to create and kind of you need to launch an EC2 in a cluster manner where auto scaling load balancer need to be done, and it need to define which application. That means what you want to assign the role of the server. It's going to be like web server. Example, I want to use Nginx, so you need to deploy, you need to install all those things, Nginx or Node.js here, right? And you can hear on a private app, right? The subnet, you need to define some kind of, again, one more like cluster for app server where auto scaling load balancer to be done, right? So here you need to install Node.js or Python, and you need to prepare the application server. And you need to define a security group also. That means what a rule you want to assign, what other like inbound rules, and which port you need to allow, which service you want to allow to interact with the web server. And web server can communicate to app server in what way, what are the rules, right? And how, from which source. Again, you need to define the security group for app, database, and even for web server. So you need to define clearly how the application or your tier can communicate one to other. That means you have to create security group, and you have to define here, it's going to be RDS. It's going to use an RDS in this architecture. So it's going to be a solution for a PaaS solution, and which is going to be very cheaper, right? But when you require in customization over your database and more access to operating system and database, so definitely you go for self-managed. That means you deploy or you install and you maintain yourself on a EC2 base, right? So now you got a MySQL here. That means these are the things required to be built. right? And you need to have kind of Route 53, and you need to create an records. You need to define some record how to route the traffic to the Route 53 to CloudFront, and then the CloudFront. From there, you want to distribute. We want to distribute the traffic to different cache. And now you need a routable internet gateway. All are into the VPC and security group NAT gateway, and you need to create S3 for backends. So now I need to create this kind of architecture. So to build this, if I go for manual, it's going to take to understand the requirement and to build in a very systematic way with a high availability, scalability, and secure, right, with a good performance. You have to select properly all those things. So at least 2 to 4 hours you required. But you got a call that please build this infrastructure quickly. We need to demonstrate, we need to deploy some application, and we need to demonstrate to the customer, right, for review. So how do you do that? You got an email, right? It's urgent requirement. So now here you need to set up what? A kind of you have a laptop, your personal laptop. Example, you have a laptop, your personal laptop, and you want to just install Terraform. It's very quickly you can just install Terraform. It's basically recommended to have on Linux. It can be on Windows also, right? No worries. So Terraform you need to install very quickly in a very faster way. You can deploy, you can install the Terraform on your laptop. And now the customer want that the healthcare application client want that it need to be tested on AWS, and they want that it should be on Azure, or they want to go for on Google, right? They want to have a like pilot kind of project, and they want to decide how we can go with what cloud, right? They want to just have a review on multiple cloud architecture, and you've got a task to build this infrastructure on like by using and kind of Terraform, right? Because it can save time, it avoid the errors, and it can go for like repeated work, and the infrastructure can be shared and reusability can be done. So now, what exactly you have to do is it's a multi-cloud, right? Cloud 1, Cloud 2, Cloud 3. So what you need to do is you're just installing a Terraform, your portable machine or your personal laptop, and you create what? Here, you need to create a connection between these providers. We say the Terraform says what? A provider. So now, this provider, you need to define, you need to say or instruct to Terraform, hey, Terraform, go and do this work. So if you want to say something, so what do you require? Definitely, you need to understand the language and instruction to be done to given to the Terraform, right? So Terraform says that first you need to have a connection. First you have to have connection. That means with the help of plugins, you're going to create a connection between Azure or your Terraform or AWS Terraform or Google Terraform, right? So you need to have this connection. So plugin to be installed. So now one, number two, your permission, right? That means you should have a permission, appropriate permission to access this cloud. That means here you need to go with a kind of IAM services, and you need to define the role, or you need to create a user to give the permission, certain permission, what exactly you want to do. It's good to go with a least permission like methodology, or you can say the strategy where the security constraint can be or compliances can be met. Okay, you have to always care about the compliance of security. So now, so we did something here, and now what I want to do is I want to go for these things like a permission given, right? And plugins to be installed on Terraform, so Terraform can communicate to AWS, right? So next, what I want is I need to instruct Terraform what to do. So why not to have a Git first? Okay, version controlling. So it's good to have all the script to be right and control in the version control. So just go ahead with the version controlling system there. And before going with this, your project directory. So now what you're going to do is, now you are going to create a configuration file. That means a configuration file is a file which consists of instruction to the Terraform what to do and where to do, Azure or AWS or Google. So now this configuration file is basically in the form of what? .tf extension. Terraform uses its own kind of scripting tool, scripting language that is called what? Your HCL, HashiCorp configuration language. It's not JSON, it's not YAML. We heard about something YAML or JSON and Amazon as well as Azure Bicep and Amazon like AWS Cloud Formation also. So now you required and you need to understand, you need to create a file, TF file, and in that you're going to instruct what do you want to do. That means you have to learn a very systematic way and a very like logical way. You have to learn about the scripting part on Terraform, right? The HCL configuration is not Java, it's not a YAML, it's not JSON, it's not something, right? So you have to go with HCL, their own format. Okay, that's very easy compared to, I can say that YAML or JSON. It's very easy HCL, and you'll find and you'll love. If you hear about the programming, oh, you love this HCL because HashiCorp given a very, you can say the very easy syntax. You can understand well. So no worries. So I'll give you guidance on scripting, how to do scripting, how to follow scripts syntax, and how to troubleshoot the errors, debugging, and all those things will go step by step. But today we are going to say what you are going to learn. What is the use case of Terraform? What is the benefit of the Terraform in a company? I have given a scenario. You can understand the time is very important, right? You can deliver the project on time, on demand. If you're going for manually, oh, it's going to take 2 hours and 4 hours. Now it's going to be in minutes, 5, 4 minutes, 3 minutes. You can go ahead, depend on your requirement, how many resources you want to build. 100, 200, 400 resources, above 500 resources, you can go ahead. So now configuration file is going to be here. And once you have done your configuration file, so you are ready, right? But why not to have some kind of like process to understand whether it's having a like any kind of syntax error before writing, like you have written, like example, 500 resources to be created. So it takes a lot of time and you have created a one-time resource like a script. So now you need to validate. It's very important. Then you have to you have to like you can say a format, right? It's not an option, important optional kind of thing, but it's good to go with format. The code can be organized in a very systematic form. Okay. And then you have to go for what? A kind of plan. That means you have to run this plan to make a simulation. That means before execution, you need to understand whether it's going to be like deployed or it can be run on a cloud or not. You can just see this here, right? And once you have done this, then you are confirmed, then you have to execute. So to execute, the Terraform use a command called apply. It's going to be apply command. So now that's going to be a kind of process of doing building the resources on cloud by using configuration file once. And it's very important that whenever you write, you want to write a kind of scripting. You need to script in a very like it should be what? It should be in a splitted manner. That means you want to say a provider. You want to write a code which says about which provider need to be connected, credential and everything you have to pass. So what are you going to say? .tf file. And now you are going to go forward. You want to say network resources. Why not to have one more file? You want to go for server solution. Why need to go for server.tf? Why not to have a storage, right? And for more flexibility and reusability, it's good to go with what? Variables. So variable is going to be very helpful in real time, and it's flexible, and reusability can be short. No hard coding, right? Directly, you can just go ahead with what you can you can define the variable once, and you can reuse in multiple files whenever you require. So we are going to see very specific to this, how to implement and how to make a shot of your reusability and modification, customization can be done. The troubleshooting can be easily worked. Okay, that's very important here. And these are the things like you need to work on splitted, so troubleshooting can be done very easily. It's not recommended to write all the code, 500 resources instruction in a one file. It's not recommended. It's need to go with multiple files. And whenever you're writing this file and you execute this file, what happens? Once you execute with the help of plugins and connection facility and permissions, so it will go to specific cloud. Example, we are taking about cloud word. We are taking about this AWS. Example, you have written into this provider AWS credential, and you have given this instruction here. On the base of this provider, the code, what you have written instruction into this file. So it will go and it will connect to the AWS, and it will execute all network, servers, storage, and security, whatever you have defined the resources, everything will be executed. And within a minutes, you can see the result. And your manager says, what? It's very urgent. It's need to be deployed, and we need to say, we need to give hand over to the clients that to make up and review. So you need an infrastructure. So how do you build the infrastructure? So infrastructure can be built manually or automated. So what do you say? What method you're going to use in this situation? So it's true, and it's a fact that you are going to use Terraform, not AWS Cloud Formation. AWS Cloud Formation, that is nothing but a service of Amazon. Cloud Formation is a native service of Amazon Cloud Formation. And here Azure is having what? Azure Bison. So now what I mean to say, the Cloud Formation Azure is going to be native service of Amazon Azure. And definitely it's going to work only that domain base. It's only on that platform. You want to manage multiple cloud, you want to go with this, so no way. So you have to use the Terraform as an open source, which can work with multiple cloud. Now the trend is going on what? Multi-cloud technology, right? So that's very important that you need to understand that multi-cloud kind of process, how you're going to work with Terraform, how to save the time, how to make a reusability, how to run the code very efficient manner. Writing code also very easy. Okay, so that's all about like when you execute, it will execute and come back. And what exactly it will do after creation, it will confirm to the Terraform. Yes, I did. But how? Is going to create one file called what? Is going to create what? TF state file. Terraform TF state file. So this TF state file is nothing but a what? A confirmation or storing or history, what exactly Terraform created on Amazon, what date, what time, what resource, all the attributes, resource, physical ID, everything will be stored here. That means a sensitive information. So it's not, the commonly it's like basically to store, it's going to store on the same machine, but it's not highly recommended not to store TF state file here. So where to store? So you need to understand what? Backend system. That means how do you make up this TF state file to not be stored here as a security perspective? You should not go here. You have to store in a remote location. That can be a Terraform cloud, or it can be AWS S3. You can or blob. You can go ahead. So it's really recommended in a real time. So you have to understand the security compliance. As I said, it's very important, right? And you are making an like instruction to this server to have what? Node.js or Python to be deployed, or you said RDS and you have to go for MySQL, a lot of things you have instructed. So, but the database and all this kind of thing, you have to store into where the password, the sensitive information should not be hard coded. You have to keep into where a specific, you can say, is going to be on secret. Okay. So Amazon having a secret where you can keep up in an encrypted manner and it's going to be protected. So it's good to go in real time, right? And you need to you have a vault system also, right? Terraform Vault. It's an encrypted place where you can keep your credentials into this, and it's going to be like safe, right? So this way you go. You understand now the configuration file. You understand TF state. TF state holds what? All the resources which is created by Terraform stored here. That means the history. So it will not get duplicated. It will not get duplicated, and it will have an idea that what exactly Terraform created already. So if you like by mistake or human errors, or you just say by mistake you executed again, so it's not going to create all the resources again. So it will check this TF state before going to execute the configuration file, and it will say you that there is nothing to do because already resources are there. That's way the Terraform whole architecture design in a very such a manner where it's going to be very efficient to work without any lot of errors, right? So TF state is going to be what? A current state. We say current state. Store what? Current state configuration. And here is going to what? Desired. That means what do you want? Desired state. So these are the things like here you need to understand secrets, how to use it, what is Vault, and what exactly is the Terraform cloud, remote cloud or backend, and how to work with desired state, how to work with current state, how to code it, right? How to make a versioning. So these all things we are going to learn in the Terraform cloud. But before that, I'll just give some kind of diagram here to understand well. So now you can see here the Terraform in real world, Git flow, what Git flow strategy you need to use, the workspaces for dev and testing and production environment. How do you make up a separate spaces into the Terraform, and the variables, how to work with a variable with a flexible and reusability kind of facility. Remote backend for making a secure store, the TF state files, and Vault is going to go store what database passwords and API keys and to be stored into these and for securities. And multi-cloud, it's we know that Terraform can communicate to multi-cloud, where the AWS CloudFormation and Azure Bicep cannot do that, right? It's going to be native. So you can see here now Terraform and others, right? A language HCL. It's going to be JSON or YAML or DSL. So what language is going to use? But I said, oh, this is going to be very easy. Like state management locally or remote. You have a both option. It's managed by Amazon itself in the same cloud and managed by Azure. Modules, yes, powerful. Nested stacks, and yes, this means modules are there. It means you can hey, you can just go ahead with the module system in Terraform, where the work can be recall and reuse and collaborate and can share to others. Okay. And reusability, yes. So we have a lot of options of cost, open source, and free and free. In AWS Azure also, it's free. It's not, there is no charge for the service. But here, the more flexibility what we are getting, right? Where we can have more facility into this compared to the cloud, cloud-based services. So that's why companies are like rebranding of like Terraform skills. So Git flow, and you have this Terraform workspaces, going to be what dev state or staging of state and then production, right? One code, multiple states. That makes sense, right? So how do you create? What are the commands? We'll see in a practical manner. And what is, if you do not know about the multiple environment, I'll explain you in the classes, right? But we are going to have this demonstration for the Terraform, what we are going to learn, how we are going to learn, right? Which scenario and use cases, how to write a code, how to define the variables, scripting, everything will be in a very systematic way and easy. I'm not going to give you like complicated way. It's going to be very simple and short method I'll give you. Okay. and Vault integrations, and how to work with Google and Azure, AWS, all. But we'll make a one specific so we can understand well. Then after understanding the concept, you play because you have the tool, all right? So you can play it. So that's the way like you do all the scripting and part, module reusability, how do you do module and how to work with that. And it's a kind of end-to-end flow, how exactly you go with this. Developer, Git, like preview, and there's going to be what? CI pipeline, approval, Terraform apply, cloud infrastructure, wall, and then application. That means you need to have a lot of things. It's not only cloud, you have to integrate with the Git and you have to integrate with the kind of vault and you have to understand the cloud, very important to apply and to understand the cloud, Terraform. And one more thing I can say. Okay, here I said Terraform is basically what? Build. It's not only for build. It's going to what? Build, update, and destroy. You want another changes. You want to modify some resources. You want to do some configuration, upgrading the resources, right? So is it possible? Yes, it's possible. Destroy? Yes, in a one click, one time, one central place, everything done. No need to go each services to interact, right? Infrastructure as a code, IAC. The Terraform comes under IAC infrastructure as a code. Fine. Now you have this option, and now you can see the build process, update and destroy, right? How it goes, we'll see in a one-by-one steps. First, building the setup, then building, understanding small script, then start working with the real-time scenarios. We'll go. And the version controlling, central control, security, automated, how exactly is going to go. So how exactly work with CI/CD pipeline, how it works with Kubernetes. So we'll see all those things into one session by session. And definitely you'll be a master and you can have a concept and you can work in a real time to deploy an application. So you can work and you can work with the production level also. Why companies need Terraform skills? As I said already, faster delivery, consistency, trust optimization, security compliances, team collaboration, high demand. Definitely, it's going to be high demand. So now people are mostly companies are asking about these skills, and you must have this, right? So this is going to be, yes, it's enough to have understanding. And let's see in the session coming up sessions, which small things first concept, then go with technical point, right? If you have any query, please ping me on the group, right? And then we'll have a discussion, right? So next session, we'll see you back. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you.